Ça y est, Fringe, la série qui succède dignement à X-Files, démarre la semaine prochaine sur TF1 le jeudi soir. Bon, Fringe, c'est simple, hein, pour s'en souvenir, c'est la série avec la vache.
The cow's my favorite. What are you saying about the cow? I love the cow. Yeah, Jean's great.
On a eu de la chance, on les a tous rencontrés. C'était il y a quelques semaines à Los Angeles au Pele Festival. Il y avait Gigi Abrams, Roberto Orsi et Alex Kurtzman. Il y avait le showrunner de la série Jeff Pinkney, Joshua Jackson qui tient le rôle de Peter Bishop, John Noble, bon vous l'avez déjà vu, hein, c'est le Dr Frankenstein un peu cinglé de la série, et Anna Torv, qui est l'agent du FBI Olivia Dunham et qui va être très impliqué dans toutes ces histoires étranges.
I just want to go back to before.
Même si chaque épisode raconte une histoire bien distincte, la série possède une très forte mythologie. C'est de ça dont ils nous ont tous parlé, ainsi que des inspirations très SF de la série.
We were all fans of X-Files in the same way that we were all fans of Twilight Zone and we were all fans of Altered States, and we just sort of like throw it all in the stew and see what we come up with.
I think that one of the themes is that, science, technology has gotten to a place where it's almost impossible to control.
Mind control, teleportation, astral projection.
But it goes much further than that. I mean, there's a very specific sort of reason and purpose behind what's going on, these odd events that kind of keep happening that this group of three characters examines and investigates every week. So the fun of the show is that you've got, I think, almost a thematic and relatable idea that technology is out of control, but you also have it done in a way that is, I think, especially creepy and mysterious and often terrifying.
Genetic mutation, reanimation.
Whoa, excuse me for a sec. Reanimation. Really?
I love shows like this. I love science fiction as a genre, and I think, one of the things that any show that's just about people living in our world inevitably runs into is at a certain point there's only so many stories to tell, and that you end up with a finite amount of characters, and there's only so many times the dynamics can shift between them. But on a well-done science fiction show, there's an infinite amount of possibilities.
We always design the show to be a kind of a standalone show, in that if you missed a couple episodes before it, which of course you wouldn't do, but if you did, then you'd be able to catch up to the show immediately. But also, mythology just interests us. We really like the kind of the puzzle pieces and how you put them together, and that kind of thing is a much more serialized element in that it takes a long time to figure out what the different puzzle pieces are about.
Yeah, I mean, the question you just asked is the whole secret, is how much to do a standalone and how much to go into more serialized mythology, and how fast do you get there, and figuring out the speed of that is the key.
Look around. You see all these people going about their lives, no idea what's happening around them, what they're in the middle of.
It seems like it should be kind of like 2 or 3, 60 to 80% of the episodes should be standalone with Easter eggs for the remaining 30 or 40% that then actually are part of the larger mythology. Right.
They chose a smart conceit for the show. To me, as a fan, audience member, what I think is more interesting, this is just personal taste, is the overarching story. The bigger story, I think, is always more captivating than anything, get the bad guy, put him in cuffs, lock him up. So that's what gets me to, not just tune in, but really give a damn about a show.
I have used this technique to extract information from a corpse. You can do that if they haven't been dead for longer than 6 hours. There was a risk, I think, had he kept saying, I did an experiment on that every time we did it, which he did for the first few shows to establish, that would have been funny and would have been unplayable. Like, give me a break. But we don't do that anymore. It's much more subtle now, the way we... And there's this great underpinning of a body of work that is creating the pattern, of which Walter was one of the scientists. So it's become more sophisticated in terms of the way that we approach Walter and his memory now.
I think that the star of the show is the show, and that's kind of lovely too, because people, and even when you get questions, at events like this, the questions are always about the show, and what about this and what about that, and so there's it is absolutely like a shared responsibility, and I think that people people kind of split off a little bit, and there are definitely a few different corners, but ultimately it all comes together and is the show.
Actually, we had an idea that was really critical to all the choices that were made in season 1 that we all decided on when we did the pilot. So yes, we do know how we're going to end the show.
And some of the things that we were saving for the very end, we're actually going to move up, and it's going to be a matter of exactly that same challenge. Finding something else that's an engine for They're continuing character stories. And because we have a strong character group, the stories are going to come out of them, you know. There's too many secrets in the world anyway to uncover them all.
We just wrapped the first season, and I want to sleep for a week, to tell you the truth. I can't kind of think any further than that. I'm hopeful that, you know, that we go to a second season and then it's, you know, gets such a great response. And I'm really just thinking day by day at the moment.
The year's most anticipated new series.
Welcome to La La Land.